Court has done today is to murder democracy. What they have done today is to give judicial backing to injustice. They have killed democracy in Nigeria. I am ashamed of them. What they have done is to reject the wide condemnation, international and local condemnation, that treat their January 14th judgment. All the wise counsels, all the articles that people have written in various newspaper publications and in various electronic media, they rejected it and prefer to uphold their injustice of January 14th. What they have now done is to give judicial backing to illegality, judicial backing to fraud. Somebody gathered fake results and packaged in the Ghana must go and brought to you. He said it was 388 in his evidence laid at the tribunal. He tendered 366. You computed it and gave him all the scores. Where was my own score? I was a candidate in that election. I was a candidate of the Reform and Advancement Party. Where was my own score? Hope allocated all the figures to himself, and the Supreme Court accepted it and said that is democracy. What the Supreme Court has done is to give judicial pronouncement to criminality, to electoral fraud. I am ashamed on their behalf. They have seen what their brother justice told them in their very presence. What a wonder! Wonder shall never end. Wonder the man said will never end. What the pronouncement they have made today will live forever to haunt the electoral system. The electoral system, this judgment will live to haunt it. In fact, politicians will now go to grab whoever that will declare the result.
If anyone is ranting about democracy being murdered, oh please, let's say something better. It's the finality of the Supreme Court. That is why it's called supreme. Yes, we agree that they're infallible, but not in this case. In some other case, yes, they can reverse themselves. We all know this. We have to respect the sanctity of the Constitution and the Supreme Court. As I told you, I have studied law in America, England, and Nigeria, and the sanctity of the Constitution is number one. No lawyer goes around denigrating or disparaging the justices. It's unethical. Nigerian democracy today has actually excelled, and we should thank God for it. So the law is the law.
Parties canvassed their case very well, and the patience is exhibited by the justices. They gave enough time for all the parties to canvass their case. At the end of the day, they came and the ruling was delivered. As far as I'm concerned, there was no winner, there was no loser, because the case was duly heard. Opportunities were given to all parties to canvass their case. There was no cost awarded. So, to me, there was no victor, there was no vanquish.
When I was coming, Mr. President, this morning, I saw the newspaper headline of this day. Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, expresses shock at the level of violent crime. In other words, Mr. President was expressing surprise. But in accordance to our rule 5313, I will not go into that, but I will only say, Mr. President, in pidgin English, this surprise surprised me.
Minority Leader, there should be no surprises, just go straight to the point.
You have told us that on this solemn day that we're discussing this matter, that we may not at any point be partisan. And I want to tell you, Mr. President, if you didn't insist that we will not be partisan, I would have called out the presidential spokesman, Femi Adesina, who, when the CAN leaders complained about the killing of a priest, he turned around and said that the CAN was acting like a political party. Now that we are talking about it here, let me hear him say that all of us are acting like a political party when somebody is complaining about these incessant deaths in this country. Mr. President, because we have to get to the root of this matter, I can only say one thing. Those who live by propaganda will die by propaganda.
Minority Leader, I really don't like what I'm doing, but I'm forced to. The issue before us and what concerns every single Nigerian today is the insecurity that is so pervasive. So I will still urge you that please let's contribute in such a manner that we're able to get solutions. I am not saying you cannot say what you want to say, but let's get solutions. What is the way forward? Because we need to take very urgent and immediate decisions and get across to the other side. So you may continue. In fact, you have 2 more minutes. No, you can still. Anyway, this is a minority leader, so there is a discount for him. Go ahead, minority leader.
Mr. President, we are very serious here. This is a matter of life and death. And I was building up to something. And I will say what I was building up to very simply. Boko Haram has been defeated. Nigeria is now safer. Everything was being done to make sure that the hard work that was supposed to be done in securing Nigeria was not done, because certain people did not do their work and preferred to cover the eyes of Nigerians with propaganda. That's why I said that at the beginning. But let me go on, Mr. President, to say this. All the time that we wasted in Nigeria trying to find all these excuses for non-performance has now come to stare us in the face. Reality is no respecter of persons. And it is the reality that we are facing now. Senator Sani Musa shouting every day that his people were being killed in Niger. We just took one from Jos, a student who was murdered by a Boko Haram person in full view of everybody with a pistol. And the Boko Haram person was somebody that was more, almost, he's not up to 9 years or 10 years old. And we are told that they have been defeated. Now, to go to the fact of what do we do? Mr. President, we have heard from the newspapers today where you have said and suggested, and quoting you to say, oh, well, we were going to call the IG, we are going to talk about the community policing, we are going on that way. Mr. President, Nigeria did not elect the IG. We did not elect the chief of staff. We did not elect the joint chiefs. We did not elect the national security advisor. We elected the government of APC in 2015 and re-elected them in 2019. The reason why we re-elected them was that they continued to tell us that because they had the key to security, and the whole Nigeria voted them in 2015, and I agree with that. And I'm saying, Mr. President, when you want to deal with a matter, you go to the head. So we will go to the government and ask this government to resign because they can no longer do anything in this country.
Mr. Minority Leader, I know. Okay. Please, Minority Leader, let me remind you once again that Nigerians voted for APC in 2015, and because they saw improvement in their lives, they voted APC again in 2019. I don't want us to be partisan, and I will advise against hate speech in this chamber.
Mr. President, in conclusion, Mr. President, in conclusion, Mr. President, I need your attention. Mr. President, in conclusion, yes, Nigerians voted a government into power. And that government even said, if we don't perform, stone us. We are going with the stones to stone them now because they are no longer.
I think the timekeeper, the minority leader, distinguished colleagues, the situation in this country is such a serious situation that our debate should be tailored towards ensuring that we are able to get solutions.